What's up, everybody? Welcome into the NESN studios. Michaela Vernava here. I'm joined via Skype by our NESN MMA analyst, Jimmy Smith. Jimmy, thanks for talking with us today, here to preview Conor McGregor versus Donald Cerrone. And I want to start by asking you if what you saw in Wednesday's press conferences changed anything about what you think we'll be seeing in the octagon between these two guys.
It certainly influenced it, and I'll tell you why. Cowboy Cerrone has had trouble with fighters that make fights personal, that get in his head, that disrespect him, that make it about more than athletic contest. If a fighter makes it about more than that, it makes it kind of personal. It kind of gets, I don't know what it is, the pressure kind of gets under Cowboy's skin a little bit. He hasn't dealt with that well in the past. Conor didn't do that at the press conference. It was a love-in. It was, I respect you, you respect me. Cowboy loves that kind of a fight. He loves, we're buddies, let's go in there and brawl. And that's how the press conference was. So I think that was a prime opportunity for Conor McGregor to get under Cowboy's skin and make it a little bit personal, throw some jabs in there, and he didn't do that. So I think that benefits Cowboy.
So it was a very un-McGregor-like press conference, not his usual antics. Do you think that was strategic and conscious on McGregor's part?
Out of the scenes that we couldn't see, a million PR people, everyone around Conor McGregor had said, look, be a nice guy this one fight. A lot of out of octagon issues over the past couple of years. That's what he's been in the limelight for. We want to put that to the side. And if you saw the interview with Errol Houana, if you saw the press conference, there was a concerted effort to seem professional and nice. And he was actually on time, which was stunning. It's the first press conference he's ever been on time for. That set the tone. I'm a new, nice, professional Conor McGregor. I call it job interview Conor McGregor, dinner with the parents Conor McGregor. This is a guy trying to make a good impression or reintroduce himself to fans.
And he did say that he's turned over a new leaf since he last fought Khabib. He said that he was drinking right up until that fight and that he's not doing that this time around. Do you buy that? And how much will it affect what we see from him?
How many fighters have you known in your life? Don't trust him. It's not a matter of whether or not he's telling the truth. I don't know. You don't know. No one around him knows. But he's saying the things you would expect someone to say in his position. You have to take all of it with a grain of salt, right? He's saying the right things at the right time. Are they true? Who knows? But a fighter who has lost the way he lost to Khabib has to do two things. He has to minimize his defeat, and he has to give you a reason to believe the next fight is going to work out differently. In saying, man, I was partying then, I was drinking too much, I wasn't doing the things I was supposed to be doing, he makes both of those points at the same time. It's an important message, and he's going to send it.
And now, both these guys, they're big name fighters, but not in their primes. They're both on losing streaks if you count McGregor's boxing match loss to Floyd Mayweather. What do you think we will see from these two guys?
The issue going into this fight that you can't get around is Cowboy has trouble starting quickly and starting effectively in big fights, big lights, big names, title implications, big money. That's when he tends to have his worst fights. Cowboy has all the tools to defeat Conor McGregor if he fights sharp. Conor McGregor, one thing we haven't really seen from him, he was beaten by Khabib. We haven't seen that go in there and not look like Conor McGregor. We haven't seen that happen yet. So a lot of this has to do, with me personally, with how Cowboy approaches this fight, how effectively he fights, if he uses all of his weapons early. He's been a slow starter in the past, and that has cost him. Conor McGregor is an extremely fast starter. It's about who controls the range, and it's about who has the right pacing, who starts quickly at the right time.
I want to know how much of a factor you think the difference will be between the fact that McGregor hasn't fought now in well over a year, whereas Cerrone's this will be his fifth fight in the past 12 months. Do you think that keeps him fresh, or does the fact that McGregor has had all this time off to recover and train and mentally prepare for this fight, which do you think is the advantage?
I think it generally goes with Conor simply because as I said, we haven't seen that long layoff. He looks off and weak. Against Khabib, I think he fought a superior opponent who was better at implementing his attack, which was the ground game. It wasn't a matter of Conor coming out and looking stiff and looking like his timing was good. He's a timing fighter. He's an accuracy fighter. He's a rhythm fighter. Usually, with time off, that doesn't start as well. Cowboy has a style that he steps forward and brawls. Layoffs and in a lot of fights, I don't think that affects him that much. Conor's style would usually be affected by a long layoff. The last long layoff we saw, he looked pretty sharp. I don't think either Cowboy's consistency or Conor McGregor's layoff, I don't think we see that affecting either fighter.
And then from a physical standpoint, these guys fighting at 155, do you think the height difference will play a factor with McGregor at 5'8" and Cerrone at 6'1"?
It certainly might, but what I think is more important is they're fighting at 170 pounds. As you said, they're natural 55ers. Cowboy's a little bit bigger. Cowboy has fought at 170 before. He's fought bigger guys. I think he naturally fits the weight class a little bit better. Of course, Conor fought Diaz at 170. Diaz, once again, a natural 155-pounder. I think Cowboy is on the bigger end. With these two fighters who are big 55ers, Cowboy's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit stronger. He's used to performing against big, strong fighters at 170 pounds. That might be the factor. Remember, Conor is used to hitting fighters with one shot and hurting them. Cowboy's big at 170. A lot of that affects your chin.
And this fight will have a lot of implications for the future. Who do you think has the most to lose in this fight? Is it Cerrone and his legacy? Is it McGregor and his whole act? Or is it the UFC and their bottom line should McGregor lose this fight?
One angle that I don't believe is being pushed enough by anyone in the MMA media, and maybe you and I can do it, is this is a must-win fight for Conor McGregor. I think everything's on the line for him because right now, you can lose to the best, which could be the best at 155 right now, and you can go down a little bit. You fight the number 2 guy, number 3 guy, number 4 guy. Cowboy Cerrone is right now not on the contenders list at 155. He's had some losses. He's about number 5 in the division right now. If he loses to him, Conor doesn't have a whole lot of big name, big money, big pay-per-view stars that he can realistically fight to get back in it. And Cowboy has had a career of ups and downs, has some losses come back, then he has some streaks and gets some wins. A loss here doesn't affect him that much. Conor McGregor, who only wants big name, pay-per-view, tens of millions of dollar fights, it's hard to find another one of those in the UFC should he lose to Cowboy Cerrone. That's the simple fact that I don't think enough people are aware of.
So McGregor, a must-win for him. He is the favorite coming into this fight. Jimmy, can we get your pick? Who's going to get it done in the octagon?
The problem for Cowboy is he's had trouble with fighters like Conor McGregor. Accurate, tricky, versatile, unorthodox, confident, controls range well. That's always been a problem for Cowboy, and he has trouble starting slowly in big fights. Conor McGregor, a very fast starter. I go with Conor McGregor, and I go with him in the first 3 rounds.
All right, Jimmy, awesome analysis. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.